Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
So, Atoba Forsen. Let's do some discussion in studio. I've been joined by two gentlemen. Mr. Geoffrey Okanse, a tax expert, yesterday. We're speaking to him on the line about his expectations. And also Samson Asaki Awengobert. This time he's in studio as Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association. Gentlemen, good evening. You're welcome to 505.
Good evening. Thanks for having us.
It's good to see you, Mr. Okanse. This is the first time I'm meeting you in person.
I didn't know this. Okay, that's nice to meet you too. I've been listening to you. I mean, excellent submissions. I mean, I like people who really say things that we research about. Facts are very sacrosanct.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only in Ghana that you'll be talking about debt stock of Ghana. And the whole of Ghana, after educating people from primary school to university, you don't get one figure in Ghana.
Different
the debt
figures.
stock you hear, and then it's so abusive to our pockets. After educating people, it will take an external organization like IMF to come and tell us the
real debt.
It's a shame.
And even the IMF figure,
you know,
sometimes there are disputes.
But if you want to dispute that, you allowed for it. If you had the honesty, the truthfulness running through your system, you should have it as a common figure to know. These are basics. I mean, what you owe. I mean, these are not like a spread of the population. It's just one figure that we owe. So if we owe X amount, it should be X amount across board for us to use for everything we are doing. For academia, for discussions like we are having, for planning purposes, we need to have concrete, exact figures, and we should learn from it.
Okay. We'll see. Did we have the concrete, exact figures today when the finance minister presented them?
The banter is on. The banter is on once again. The finance minister quoted a figure, and then you heard from the
former finance minister.
And so yes, the roll is on. But I mean, at all costs, whatever they do, the smart ones like yourself and I would be checking at what figure is mentioned, what is being done. We'll just match the productive angles. What are we getting from it? If you tell me that you were collecting X amounts from e-levy, the facts and figures should be there for you to show to me. If you were, for example, we're talking about betting tax. Exactly, the figures should be there. If you talked about cancelling betting tax, you should be able to tell me how much we're actually cutting away. For example, the present government, the president said that previous, the budget allocation for the spending on Independence Day, he mentioned a figure. Which the opposition has not dared come over to say is not the figure. But he's telling you, even if you are not using the budgeted $20 million Ghana cedis for this year, and you were using the past one, which was the 14 million Ghana cedis as they quoted, if he's saving 1 million Ghana cedis, you know exactly how much he saved for us, even we're using the old figure. So, I mean, there's room for discussion. At every cost, we will sit down and plan, and we'll be able to measure all the discussions. They can enjoy their banter as politicians, but as people who are here to speak about issues, we would like to monitor some of the things. For example, if you asked me yesterday what are some of the expectations, I told you it was promised that we were going to take away the e-levy. And let me tell you on record, a lot of people are thinking about the e-levy only taking away the tax burden, but there's a gain. People stopped using that platform because of the e-levy. Meanwhile, we're telling them, look, the lot of people who are there, allow them to be there. You are getting your communication, whatever tax already around it already. Let them be there. Let them do their own transactions. Take your 1.0, which you were taking already, and maintain that. At the end of the day, the next phase of it was that we were telling you to target those who were doing business on the platform, like the Uber, Amazon, Alibaba.com, Tonaton.com. These are the ones who had the muscle, the financial muscle, doing business via the platform.
The online businesses.
So you should look at those virtual businesses and charge them. So with the removal, you are going to get a lot of people coming on board and doing business, and transactions can go. It will even affect traffic. People don't even know. I mean, people decided to now travel from their homes and go and give the money to
people and collect the money.
Because if you
they will use the e-levy money as transport
because
money.
Most of them were not making big profit. Somebody was supplied charcoal. She can sell about 100 bags. what is the profit line on it? Just a little. And then when she's transferring the money, which is about 3,000 cedis to the person who supplied, you are going to be subtracting e-levy from 3,000 cedis. That was a lot of money.
Yes.
So now it was proper to let her son rather join the trotro and come and mass up at the queues, at the points, both in and out, and pay. But now that you have allowed it to be free, they will now be transacting businesses. It will actually save people travel time. It will let business start running. All these profits with the removal of e-levy accrue for you. Then also the betting tax. I mean, for me, as a member of the Ghana NCDs Alliance, people don't even go far to know that with the betting, those who win are few. About 10% of the people winning and about 90% losing. It brings mental trauma. Those kids who were telling you they were using their university fees to go and
bet,
and then maybe with the hope of winning, when they lose, they get traumatized, they get worried, and all that will be mental health issues. Do you have a net to hold them in the social basket or health basket? No. So if you were taking the taxes from the betting, you form that social network for them, and then again, whatever you collected from the betting taxes, you are going to use that one to also create employment, but collecting that amount and injecting it into creating some industrial parks to get these children to train them for about 6 months in phone repair and get them some jobs. Today, interestingly, when I listened to the voiceover, some of the young men said they don't have jobs. That's why they are going to the betting. So if you were taking the taxes, you could have created jobs with those ones. So I think, but then it's a bold decision to promise and to deliver. The COVID one, I remember I mentioned to government that, look, rename and repurpose it. It's outlive its use. It's called COVID levy. So it means it was purposive on emission to help during COVID. It's a nuisance tax. Take it off totally. And then make sure you repurpose it and then rename it. So you can call it the Health Emergency Fund and give it an assignment of, the free dialysis we talked about?
Yes.
You remember that as far back as 2017, COVID became a blessing in disguise. That because of COVID, UGMC was said not complete. It's about 30%, 40% complete. But with the strike of COVID,
it became a very, very important institution.
So if there are other ones that were not touched, they're about 70% complete. They're in the bushes over there. We've seen videos of them. Let us use this special health levy I'm talking about to go and complete those ones. And then also the Agenda 111, the call to complete those ones that are started. If we were able to actually go and complete the ones that are about 60 or 80% complete from this same special purpose health vehicle I'm talking about, then we can give ourselves 2-3 years, and then we can clear it off when it has served its purpose. So for the taxes, the ones that they've cleared, the emissions levy, I think also the ones that they were looking about, the one that was on the vehicle.
The VAT on insurance, vehicle insurance,
yes,
because we had those people complain that people were now moving from comprehensive to third party because of that VAT.
Perfect. So if you had cleared all these ones, I mean, it's a good initiative. I'll tell you something about taxes. The people who pay taxes, ask yourself, why are people paying tithes in churches, but they cringe when it comes to paying taxes? If you listen to their language and there's a forgive, you tell me what you're using my monies for in the church. That is why people are paying tithes. You remember when you went to church the other day, Kofi and Amma, you were told how much was collected.
Yes, people were.
They told you what you were going to use it for.
Outdo each other because
that is because they know what the church uses their monies for. A CDD research revealed that over 80% of Ghanaians were ready to pay more taxes, but there was an if clause if they could see what their monies were used for. So if you took the money from them and you used it to see things that you have mentioned this day, I mean, let me tell you something. You are a woman. Something I pray you are a gender advocate too, though, and a feminist with me. This evening, I'm saddened. I cringe, I cry inside.
Why?
Because the former Deputy Minister of Finance, Madame Abina, stood among her colleagues when they poo-pooed the introduction of free sanitary pad for girls in secondary schools and basic school. With no revocation, she was ashamed to have stood there and laughed. But history has a way of revealing and repeating itself. We sat in the meeting with the Ministry of Finance, day in history, when we were discussing budget, and then we mentioned the removal of taxes from sanitary pads.
Sanitary towels.
The Minister of Finance then, Honorable Oforiata, respectfully, just forgot that the microphone was still on and asked Madame Abna, what was sanitary pads. Then she told Mr. Ofuriatta that it was in their manifesto. So today, I was not surprised that she stood there when her colleagues were saying that it was not for girls. You remember when the majority leader said it was also for girls? The girl child will be smiling. Girls lose contact hours in schools because they of that period of the month.
Yes.
The unavailability of sanitary pads. They can sit home for 7 days.
Yes.
Africa Education Watch, we have research documents. We can share with them if they are ready to
There's
look.
also even a research that says that pregnancy in especially those rural communities went high.
Right.
Because the girls don't have money and they would want to follow men to get money to go and buy sanitary towels, and that is the result.
I remember those of us who were moving for the campaign of removal of taxes from sanitary pads and and the provision of sanitary pads for these persons, vulnerable groups, especially the girl child. Today I'm celebrating, I'm happy, and I must tell you, I'm hurt, so deeply hurt. I have 4 big sisters. I'm the only male, I'm the last one. I'm for women. I'm a radical feminist, and if I had her on this show, arrange her so that we can speak. That I mean, she has done a great disservice to women to have stood there and listened to her colleague look down on the distribution of sanitary pads to girls. That was, look, of all the things that were read today that I'm supporting, that was one. Two, the leap, the vulnerable. This was the direct one to, and then the distribution of books. You remember when teachers walked out to children to walk out of classroom because they didn't have textbooks?
Yes.
And I know it happens in some parts of this country. So if you heard all these ones, it is our tax money. Let me tell you what, all over the world, nothing is free. Let nobody, in fact, the free estate, I want them to remove the free from there. There's nothing free. It is only free at the point of need. So somebody must pay for it.
And
either a donor or your taxes or some grants do that. And you remember, the man mentioned also the USAID, the shortfall from the USAID for the withdrawal of their support. And they said that the uncapping of the National Health Insurance levy
and even
Get Fund uncapping also is very important. The road fund also uncapping it. Look, these were special purpose vehicles that were going to do a mission. So how dare do you cap it? And for years, I repeat, for years, we were speaking with people who knew better. That look, if you set up a fund, that this fund is for education, ensure that it goes large base for education. And that's the dishonest thing they did to themselves and to us as a people. We suffered. Today, if somebody has come to say all this, I've listed them. I was sitting there from morning from one dot to the next dot. We have actually listed all of them.
We will look at them gradually.
It's not ended.
Yes, of course. Monitor them. Yes, we'll look at it, Mr. Okanse. Let's speak to Sansana Asaki Awingobet, the business community. We're looking at the abolishing of some taxes. Some have been done. The rationalization of the taxes, the finance minister talked about it. And he was also talking about VAT. He says that bringing Get Fund, NHIL made the VAT enormous. Now looking at that, they are going to remove them gradually from VAT, and they're going to set up a committee to see how that's going to be done.
Yes.
How do you respond to that?
Thank you very much. And okay, these are politicians. They are like, I call them Koko and Akuliba. And so you should be expecting that vigorous response from the micro minority.
They call themselves mighty minority.
They themselves.
I think I can explain that. You see, when you are going for minority and you say mighty minority, that's mighty in the negatives. Do you understand? Majority is when we are going for large numbers, okay? Minority is when you are going for small numbers. And so if you say it's a mighty small number, indeed it was a mighty small number. This is the worst in history of the country. So, and indeed, when they were saying it, some of you didn't listen to them well. They were saying the truth. It's the mighty to the negative. The worst negative, the huge negative is what they got. So they are the mighty minority.
Yes, so,
it's simple mathematics.
So Val, I'm happy to be here, and I must say that the finance minister put confidence in me.
Okay.
Confidence in the business community. They didn't do it like the previous government, where they would say that we are for the business friendly. Okay, we will move you from taxation to production. You know, that was it.
From taxation to production.
The previous government.
Yes.
Yet the kind of taxes that was run on the business community to the extent that people have to threaten, people have to leave the source of Ghana to our neighboring country, Ivory Coast here. So I can tell you, less than 1.5 months after first in the office, isn't it?
Yes.
He's able to pull the economic dialogue. He's able to come out with the economic policy for fiscal policy to make the statement today. He didn't even stop there. He went ahead to the market with his deputy minister designate, to talk to our mothers and our sisters in the market, to have the feel of what is happening. And I think that that's a plus for the gentleman, and he deserves my applause. Let me say that President Mahama has delivered his promise, where he said he will set up Women Development Bank. The seed has been allocated. What Okase just spoke about, the fund allocating for the sanitary part. This alone, how much is the money? 100 and something million Ghana cedis.
For the sanitary part.
This is a big push.
Are you talking about the sanitary part?
Yes. Ask me why. Those who will get the opportunity to supply this sanitary part to the secondary schools. If I'm the Minister of Trade and Industry and I'm the Minister of Finance, I will insist that we buy it from the local production. We buy it from the local production, then the money stays here.
292.4 million for
sanitary pads.
Distribution of free sanitary pads to female students in primary and secondary schools.
So I expect that we should buy it from the local production. And I want government to support the local production. It should be Ghanaian company. We might probably have local company, but is it Ghanaian? What is the shares holding structure of that company? Is it Ghanaian? Because if it's a foreigner, because we have political stability, that's why he's here. If tomorrow our economy is in saturation like it was happening, disarray, like what happened in 2022, 2023, that people have to leave. Those who left, it wasn't Ghanaians. Ghanaians were here. We're still struggling here. So can we encourage Ghanaians to set up those factory and produce, and whoever get the contract, please, you go there and buy. The other aspect too is the Akoko Kitikiti. We are spending, President Mama made it to understand, we are spending over $400 million importing frozen chicken into this country. I am for all that there should be a push, a big push, said that it is the agricultural transformation agenda that President Mama is advocating. That we should give fund to those who produce maize, those who produce soya beans in large quantities. Then we should give fund to those who produce those who go into the poultry production. Now, and regulate or monitor. Okay, so you have money to go to run poultry, you have money to do maize, you have money to do soya beans farming. Please feed the poultry, and then there are processors. You set up a processing plant. So is it 3 kilogram of the poultry you want, or 4 kilogram? So Okase receive the money for poultry. Asake has a processing machine. You give me 1,000. You say you have 1,000 beds. Valentina, you have 2,000 beds. I said when it's 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and they are weighing between 3 and 4 kg. I come to buy to my processing, slaughter them, process them, cut them, package them. The frozen importers will come for it at the very moderate price. Mind you, what will not make it succeed is if the poultry farmers get subsidies or support from the government and still want to sell 100% or 200% interest profit to make that profit. And the importers see that no, I'm buying 10 of them,
and it's cheaper
in the carton, and it's costing me maybe $10 or $15. But your own, it's costing me $100. They will not buy here. They will run out to go and buy from, continue to do the import and smuggle it in.
Because it's cheaper importing than buying.
So if government will be giving us, and I don't want government to give the money and say we have given money to the private sector. You give them the money, you make sure there's supervisory. Minister of Agri has supervisory. Minister of Finance has supervisory. I'm saying this because what happened at COVID time? The enterprise agency, or what you call them?
NAIP.
Where Mago is. where my go is. The former Zoom
Yes.
MC.
Yes.
She has been appointed to that place. They gave money fund like that to market women. Ask yourself, are we able to recoup it? Let's give money to where they will go into the productivity.
But we
not someone
all
who
heard
come,
what happened. They said they used it for campaign.
Not someone who will come for the money and that I'm going to set up a factory and tomorrow morning you see me riding the latest Mercedes Benz. You have not used the money. You have not turned around the money, but you want to benefit it. Because, and I also want the good statement that the finance minister put today. The figures that they had allocated, it's very convincing. That tomorrow the farmers come back and say, no, Mr. Sake, yes, we had it in the budget, but we did not have access to it.
There's a 1.5 billion for the agriculture for economic transformation.
Good, agenda. That's what I'm saying. I do not want to whereby it happened at Professor Mills' time. Remember, Professor Mills' time, something of that sort was made. But I have confidence in that portion. He's a very disciplined guy, and I know he will make sure that the fund will go to the rightful channel, because these are strategic areas. That is the only area that we can sustain our city's stability. Okay, that is the only area that we can sustain if we give this fund, actually locate this fund to our poultry producers,
should be valued,
and half of this money, half of the $400 million that we bring in frozen chicken into this country, will even stay here. Let's say buy 60, we produce to the extent that we can buy 60% from here and bring in 40% to show up. I have no problem. Or buy 50% from here and bring 50% import to show up. I have no problem. But don't let us give the fund out or give the fund to. I'm not saying we shouldn't give fund to people.
But I hope you're also dreaming of that one, that instead of the 40%, maybe we can even exceed our target so that you people will now be exporting to.
No, I agree. That's why I said 60% or 40%.
But the 40 shouldn't come in. It should go out.
But we would have to start from somewhere.
What I'm saying is,
I'm just praying.
Yes, we have to start from somewhere, as you said.
Yeah. Gradual. It should be gradual.
Because you see, I am in this country. I've been doing advocate for the past 11 years now. 11 years now when I started this job. What I do see is that my own people, when those who import rice, frozen chicken, Valentina, we used to contribute to EDI fund. EDI fund became the Exim Bank. Ask them, those who want to go to processing, agro, and then added to poultry.
They are not getting
the funds. If
they
apply to those banks, do they give them the money? We end up giving the money to politicians themselves. Someone who have no knowledge in the business, in the industry. And the people who are doing the industry you are complaining that we are importing so much, you want to transform to local production, we are not getting the support. So I'm afraid that this amount of money that will come, we may end up giving to party. I'm not saying they shouldn't give them to start a business, but responsibility of supervisory should be paramount to the minister to make sure that people really channel those resources to the right, so that we come up from this with this city depreciation. Because if you have to look for 400 million guys to go and bring frozen chicken, and half of it will be here because we are going to purchase it from local market, my brother, my dear sister, the stability of the city that the finance minister is talking about today will come. The inflation rate that will come down will come. The interest rate will be forced to come. In fact, we even propose this at the economic forum. That at least those bank reserve cash ratio sitting in the commission and the Bank of Ghana there for no interest, for not even 1%. So if you can learn to just identify maybe tomato, poultry, because the poultry people complain of feed,
yeah.
So maize producers, sorghum producers. Then even tomatoes, okay. Then we invest and we can bring this burden down. $2 billion of rice importation. Rice too is there. $2 billion we are spending in bringing in rice into this country. If half of that $1 billion is sitting here, you think we'll be fighting or be struggling about our city to the dollar ratio? No. So I think that I was happy, and of course they said they are also reversing the decouple of the get fund and the health insurance on its own, and that is also going to be some savings for the business community. So Ato made my day. He really made my day.
Okay.
And he talked about going to engage us. We will engage. Our doors are open to support them, to advocate area that they can also make input or inroads there to make more revenue for the because if production goes huge, the objective of your mama agri transformation agenda is job creation. How you can get the youth to go into farming. Let the youth understand that it's gone at the day we think of farmer is an illiterate. No farmer is an illiterate now. These modern days. And let us understand that it is not you, after you farm and harvest, it's not you who is going to look for a buyer. As soon as the buffer farm, buffer stock, or what do you call them?
Buffer stock.
Buffer stock and others are there, are ready. Just then you have 1,000 bags of maize. You have 2,000 bags of maize. They will come and pick it at the price. Then they will supply the poultry at the price. Then the poultry man, when you finish, he give me the poultry at the price. I kill it and I pack up. I dress it. Then I package at the price. Then the frozen person come and pick it. And then we'll go and buy it. It's a lot supply chain. You can see how the whole thing turn around and come.
Everything will be here.
Everything will be here. That's the way. That's the game changer.
Okay. Asaki, you said
Daddy come I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.